Hey guys, welcome back to the Mark Charmin Show. Guys, so many news in such little time. So guys, I don't know if you guys pay attention to Tucker Carlson these days, but Tucker has been super fiery. It seems like Tucker Carlson has been defending these white bigots from 30 to 50 years ago. Listen to Tucker Carlson pretty much give kudos to old white bigotry people from back 50 years ago. Let's take a listen.
Carlson tonight. Want to hear an amazing story? It has the benefit of being both true and illuminating. Here it is. In 1851, a man called Samuel Cartwright came up with a fairly sophisticated scientific explanation for why so many slaves were running away from plantations in the American South. These fugitive slaves, Cartwright explained, were suffering from a medical disorder. It was called drapetomania. It was a syndrome characterized by an uncontrollable or insane impulsion to wander. So that was the problem. It wasn't that they disliked being enslaved or yearned for freedom and basic humanity. No. The problem, according to Samuel Cartwright, was that black people as a group were inherently defective. They were drapetomaniacs. They were always running away. That's what he said. 107 years later, it is embarrassing to repeat something this stupid out loud. It's so obviously insane. But here's what you should know. Drapetomania was taken very seriously at the time, and so was Samuel Cartwright. Cartwright was not a fringe character at all. He was a nationally prominent physician, a former high-ranking Army officer from Fairfax, Virginia. He went to Penn Medical School. Samuel Cartwright was a credentialed man of science who commanded the respect of the country.
It seems like Tucker Carlson is having problems with people who's attacking this white slavery system that we still have in place. He's really attacking Michael Eric Dyson, one of the strongest black leaders that we have, who's actually trying to get to the root of whiteness, what Tucker Carlson calls whiteness. Let's listen to what Tucker Carlson has to say about Michael Dyson.
And when they talk about this new iteration of scientific racism, when they talk about whiteness, they sound very much like old-fashioned bigots. Take this guy, for example. His name is Eric Michael Dyson. He's a tenured professor at some stupid college or other. He lives in a rich, almost exclusively white neighborhood. He goes on television a lot. Watch him as he talks about race and ask yourself, honestly, if he sounds any different at all from, say, Bull Connor or David Duke. He doesn't. Only the colors have changed. Here he is.
And speaking about, the maggots, the MAGA, that is so corrosive in this, political moment. And we have stood by to see mediocre, mealy-mouthed, snowflake white men who are incapable of taking critique, who are willing to dole out infamous repudiations of the humanity of the other, and yet they call us snowflakes, and they are the biggest flakes of snow to hit the earth. They are incapable of criticism. They are incapable of tolerating difference. They're scared of, oh my God, critical race theory is going to kill your mother. And they don't even know. They're not critical. They have no race, and they don't understand theory.
White men, they're the problem. You hear that so often that you don't pause to consider what a change this is.
Now, let's be honest here. For Tucker Carlson to call a black man a bigot, he sounds like a bigot, as if a black man has ever lynched anyone before, as if black man has control of the system to put people in jail and to control the laws. Black people don't have that type of black people do not have that type of power. So for him to call Michael Eric Dyson a bigot, oh, he's acting like a bigot, the white KKK leaders, it's just blasphemy. It's just complete blasphemy. Let's listen to Tucker Carlson talk about how all lives have to matter or it will not work. How convenient for him to say that when all life does not matter and is not equal for everybody in the system. But let's listen to Tucker Carlson talk about how all lives should matter. Everybody should be on an equal playing field. Let's listen.
It used to be only a few years ago that the one thing you couldn't do in America was attack people in public on the basis of their race. I don't like that group because of their skin color. Let's hurt them. You couldn't say that. It was the one unacceptable thing, and for very good reason. You cannot maintain a multiracial democracy unless people of every color have exactly the same rights and responsibilities under the law and are considered of precisely the same moral value under God. You have to have that. That's the most basic prerequisite for a multiracial democracy. All lives have to matter, or it cannot work.
You see, Tucker Carlson trying to spin this narrative of critical race theory because he's probably afraid of something is going to change in the United States. He feels as though that if anything starts changing, he's going to lose power in hierarchy. How do I know this? Well, let's listen to him pretty much backpedal on critical theory and how it's going to change everything. It's going to make all white people disappear. It's just simply talking about being aware of critical theory. That's it. It's just telling you to be aware of it. That's all. And this is
It's pretty clear that our leadership class, for whatever reason, doesn't want it to work. Obviously, they don't. Look at what they're doing. When you hear people ascribe blood guilt to a specific racial group, when you hear them talk about the sin of whiteness, what you're watching is the death of our future as a country. We can't live in a nation of warring tribes. We know very well what that looks like because it's the history of the world. It's miserable and vicious and bloody. We can't allow that. Most Americans of all colors on some level understand this. They don't always have the words to articulate it, but they know it. When their kids come home from school with assignments that suggest that all races are not in fact equal, that some races are guilty and some are innocent, that some groups are oppressors inherently and others are inherently oppressed.
So guys, Tucker Carlson is trying to defend his whiteness by trying to say that white people do not have a rage problem. We all know that there's a lot of white rage in this country for the simple fact that most of the shootings comes from who? Most of the mass shootings in these schools is coming from white kids. So we know that white rage is real and they the one who's doing the most mass killing in this country. So we know that white race is real, but why Tucker Carlson is trying to defend this white rage? We know for it to exist. Why is he continue to cover it up? Does he want it to continue? Does Tucker Carlson want more mass murders in this country? Because it seems like he do, because he's not trying to address the root of the problem. While everybody else is trying to figure out the root of how we can be better as a society, Tucker Carlson wants us to stay the same country that we've always been. If we stay the same, how do we grow as a country? We gotta think about that. We must change different things. We must try different things. We must get more information, learn new information for us to progress, for this country to progress. But oh no, buddy old Tucker Carlson wants it to stay the same America. Boy, get your behind the freak up out of here. And I'm also confused on why Tucker Carlson is attacking Army men and the Navy and anyone who's in high power these days. Is it because Biden won and anybody who's supporting Biden he wants to attack? He simply is disrespecting our U.S. Army, our leaders in the U.S. Army, simply because he disagreed with them. Just because you disagree with someone doesn't mean you have to call them names and try to figure out how did he get this position? You know, maybe he got this position because he was sucking up. Let's listen to Tucker Carlson pretty much disrespect one of our top leaders in the U.S. Army, saying that this guy must have been kissing up. Disrespectful.
You're a communist. So what is wrong with understanding, having some situational understanding about the country for which we are here to defend? And I personally find it offensive that we are accusing the United States military, our general officers, our commissioned, non-commissioned officers, of being, quote, woke.
He's not just a pig, he's stupid. So Mark Milley reads Mao to understand Maoism. He reads communist to understand communism. But it's interesting that he doesn't read white supremacists to understand white supremacy.
Guys, I simply don't understand how Tucker Carlson get to spew all this nonsense and bullcrap on national television. It seems like the actual producers is the one backing him up. It seems like the producers are the one that's backing him up. Because how is it that he's able to talk this nonsense and get away with it? Is it how white America really feels? Is this why that he's allowed to continue to speak this bullcrap that he always do? It's probably because he's in alliance with a group of people that we probably don't know of. Because how is it that he's able to speak this crazy nonsense? Him and Hannity, they keep speaking about the lie about how Trump won and all this crazy nonsense about all these conspiracy theories. How are they able to be on a network like this and still have a job? Maybe because the network that they're working for is the one that's pushing the narrative. Is it possible? Is it possible, I mean just possible, that Tucker Carlson doesn't really feel the way he say he feel? Maybe he's just reading a script. Maybe he's just saying everything because this is his job. Maybe everything he says he really doesn't believe. He's just being performative. Yeah, I think he's pretty much being performative. But if it calls for you to sell your soul, for everyone to hate you, for you to make those dollars, I guess I get it. Or not. So guys, that's it for the video. Please like and subscribe if you guys want more of these videos. Peace and love.